Hey, it's Baz, filmmaker, dad, and the guy behind 20 Minute Gamer. Today I'm jumping into a game called Intravenous on Steam. I picked this up on a deep sale, knew almost nothing about it, and honestly just thought it was worth a look. I'm a big fan of Hotline Miami, and visually this game gave off a similar vibe. I'd also heard some really strong praise for its stealth gameplay, and as a huge fan of stealth games like Metal Gear Solid, Tenchu, and Splinter Cell, that was more than enough to pull me in. So let's see if Intravenous is worth 20 minutes. Before we dive in, if you enjoy honest, time-respecting reviews of both modern and older games, I'd genuinely appreciate you subscribing. The channel's only really been going since 2025 properly, and the support and comments so far have been amazing. So anyway, story. The story in Intravenous is told through short cutscenes and on-screen dialogue, which you can skip if you want, but I'm glad I didn't. The game opens with you meeting your brother for what feels like a fairly normal night out at the pub. There's a sense that you maybe don't see each other that often, but it's relaxed, casual, and grounded. On the walk home, you head down a side street and are attacked by a group of men. The situation escalates quickly and your brother is killed. After the prologue, the game jumps forward a few months. You wake up at home, angry and frustrated that the police haven't been doing anything to catch those responsible. You're then contacted by another mysterious man who suffered a similar loss at the hands of the same gang, and unlike the authorities, this guy's ready to take some action. He brings you into his world, gives you access to weapons, and trains you in the basics of combat. By the end of my 20 minutes, I'd already returned to the location where my brother was killed, only to discover that the gang had moved on, which felt strangely realistic and quietly infuriating. It's a strong hook, told effectively, and even within just 20 minutes there's a complete, compelling slice of story here. I'd be amazed if most players don't want to continue. Score, 8 out of 10. Controls. If you've played Hotline Miami, the control scheme will feel immediately familiar. You move with WASD while aiming is dictated by the mouse. That said, I'll be honest, I did struggle a little bit at first. I'm more of a gamepad player and used to twin stick things for things like this, and I found myself wishing the character would simply move in the direction that he was facing, almost like tank controls. I think that might have suited this style of game better. You aim precisely by holding the right mouse button, which definitely helps, and actions are mapped mainly to space and E. Personally, I'd have preferred all actions on a single button, as I did find myself fumbling about earlier on. The good news is that by the end of my session, muscle memory had started to kick in. It stopped feeling like a problem and more like something I just needed time to adjust to, but those first impressions do matter. Score, 6 out of 10. Atmosphere. So this is where Intravenous really actually surprised me. While it shares some mechanical DNA with Hotline Miami, the atmosphere is completely different. It's quieter, more restrained, and far more cinematic. The art style, sound design, and writing all work together to create a grounded, believable world. The way characters communicate through on-screen text feels natural, and the game gives you space to absorb what's happening. Over time, I genuinely started to feel like this character, sharing his frustration, his caution, and his small victories. The immersion here is impressive, especially considering how quickly it hooks you in. If you like the tone within the first few minutes, I think that you're going to want to stick around. Score, 8 out of 10. Music and sound. The music deserves special mention. I went in expecting something harsh and electronic, again, tricked into thinking that this was going to be like Hotline Miami. But instead, those opening moments are accompanied by laid-back jazz tracks with real style and confidence. Later on, when the action finally ramps up, the score shifts into something that feels more like a crime thriller than a video game, and I absolutely loved it. Sound effects are excellent. Firing a silenced weapon for the first time was genuinely satisfying, and small touches like hearing the rain only when your character steps outside really do add to the atmosphere. It's already a strong audio package, although I do think if the characters had been voiced, it would have pushed it even further. Score, 8 out of 10. Graphics and style. Visually, Intravenous has a very clear and confident identity. The environments are well detailed, the UI is clean, and weapon designs are easy to read. Character portraits are particularly effective, detailed enough to convey personality without drifting into realism too much. I'm fairly sure that one of the villains actually looks a hell of a lot like Ving Rhames. The lighting engine is a real standout. Shadows, line of sight, and visibility are all communicated clearly, which feeds directly into the stealth gameplay. Being able to read the environment at a glance makes every decision feel deliberate. It all leans into that gritty, early 90s crime aesthetic and it suits the game perfectly. Score: 7 out of 10. Gameplay. My 20 minutes broke down into 2 clear halves. The first half was story focused, easing you into the world and mechanics through dialogue and a smartly designed tutorial. I really liked the way this was framed as a kind of training course, a subtle nod to classic stealth games like Splinter Cell, without overstaying its welcome. The second half was full on stealth and gunplay, and honestly, it's tough. I died several times earlier on, mostly because I hadn't fully wrapped my head around the controls yet, but once things clicked though, it became incredibly satisfying. Slipping through shadows, manipulating lights, using vents and controlling enemy sightlines all combine into a proper stealth sandbox. It's the kind of game where levels clearly reward mastery and experimentation. As an opening 20 minutes, this felt extremely well balanced, challenging, engaging and moreish. Score: 8 out of 10. Aside from the excellent music, the standout moment for me was clearing successfully the first set of outbuildings exactly how I'd planned to, silently, effectively, and then disappearing off into the shadows. For a brief moment, I felt like a little bit of a badass. Is this worth 20 minutes? I really enjoyed Intravenous. I did go in expecting a Hotline Miami clone, and I came away impressed by how much this stands on its own. Where it really improves on that comparison is through its storytelling, pacing, and emphasis on stealth over pure reflexes. It's slower, more thoughtful, and punishing in a different way, which I actually prefer. While it's not Metal Gear Solid, it absolutely scratches that stealth itch, and it feels particularly suited to short, focused play sessions. Final score: 8 out of 10. Did you stick with Intravenous past the opening? Do you play it loud and aggressive, or did you lean fully into that stealth? And how did you find the controls once you got used to them? If you're anything like me, you don't have hours and hours to sink into every game, and that's what this channel's all about, seeing whether a game can hook you in just those first 20 minutes. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.